Hey guys, very short musical intro. Got a lot to talk about. I'm just making another quickie. Censors, hey censors. It's another installment in the book of Wibblery and Wub. A fantasy story about a world gone wild as it begins its magnetic transition like the other planets. Hi, I'm Darby. I know you might be inside today for a change. I hear it's cold up there, north of here. In fact, it's going to be cold here. They're talking about 12 degrees. And I'm going to tell you something. 1,024 millibars of barometric pressure, Arctic barometric pressure over Texas. It's unheard of in modern times. We are seeing weather that has not been recorded before since we started recording things with all of our wonderful, magical, modern instruments and satellites. Now, for those of you who don't look at my YouTube channel, and I have 16,000 million reasons not to, because it's on Facebook, I have another channel, and that's the one I would suggest only for the purposes of seeing some of the pictures I posted about the channels I refer to when you go out in cyberspace to learn each day, don't you? Right? That's what we all do. Now, I put something in front of me today that's a little unusual. I don't normally have too much, but this is, people ask me, how do you stay healthy? How do you stay young looking? How do you stay energetic? So this is a cantaloupe, and this cantaloupe has been sliced, diced, prepared, so I don't have to dig at it too much. But it's also got all my ingredients I like to put on cantaloupe. Now, see what? On top of cantaloupe, yeah. Now, cantaloupe, one of the things we like to grow here. We're going to grow a lot of it this year. What I do is I add the things I love most. Okay, what do I got to have on there? All the things you should be taking in every day. They're herbs. Turmeric. That helps reduce pain from back or other places, inflammation. Turmeric's very good for you. Ginger, also very good for you. So I put ginger on my cantaloupe. Cayenne pepper, another very good thing for you. I add some black pepper to it. Himalayan salt, because you got to get some salts into your body every day, not table salt. Table salt is nasty, nasty stuff. Poison, truly poison. But if you go buy good Himalayan salt, or sea salt, well, that's another ball game entirely. I take it at night. It helps keep my cramps down. Hey, Pamela. Corina Vega Moser. 12 degrees. Oh, my God. Yeah, we're going to be down at 12 degrees. And that's going to be our low, luckily, for about 4 hours, 5 hours, which means I'm sorry. This was not planned. I had all these naturally volunteering species of sunflowers. They're already about this big. I don't think they'll make it through our snow. We got snow projected, and I am in southern Texas, south of Austin, out of the hill country even, on the way down to the coast. Yikes, 3 inches of snow. Guess what? That tells me, you guys up north, you ain't going out, you ain't going to school, and I hope to hell you aren't going in a car anywhere. Stay home. Take your food in. Why did I tell you about those ingredients? Because you better be taking them along with your vitamin C. And that's incidentally, when I talk about vitamins and stuff, I don't take a lot of supplements unless I need them, anticipating some issues or something like this, like a cold season or something like that. Of course, cold's been killed by CV, so we don't have to worry about colds anymore, right? And there's no flu. But let's just say you want to protect yourself against that new, whatever you want to call it, version of a flu. You'd be taking your vitamin C, and that's a mineral ascorbate complex. Now, calcium ascorbate is the cheapest vitamin C you can buy. It's in almost every bottle on the shelf. They buffer it even so it doesn't hurt your stomach too much. Problem is, you take 1,000 milligrams, you'll absorb 200. So you're missing out 4/5 of that if you want to do your math. Now, on the other hand, you get a multi-mineral ascorbate. I've only found one on the market. I don't sell them, by the way. There are some out there, but it's multi-mineral ascorbate. There's 5 mineral ascorbates. I'll see if I can remember them all real quick for you. That would be manganese, absolutely essential. Magnesium, that's your antidepressant version of vitamin C. There's potassium ascorbates. You want to have that. So you have magnesium, potassium, manganese, calcium ascorbate, which is what you buy everywhere, and zinc ascorbates. Why? Because that's your immune system. Zinc. It says take zinc. That doesn't mean go out and find a chunk of zinc metal and eat it. It's got to be in a really cool, tiny, tiny format so you can absorb it. So you want zinc. Now, D3 is a real good supplement, especially if you're not getting out in the sun. And I hear y'all ain't got no sun to get out into, because it means skin. Not you get out in the sun and look at it with your eyeballs and that's all. No, your skin has to be exposed to the sun and it produces vitamin D if you're a healthy person. You might notice I got a lot of skin in the sun. Skin in the game. Grounding. It's a little hard to get out there barefoot right now. There are other ways to ground. You can actually have a wire go outside. Hey, Conan. Yeah, the cold is good for you. I agree, and it definitely kicks my endorphins in action. It kicks my ass in action too. But after you frostbite your fingers and they blister down to the meat, and after you frostbite your feet and they blister down to the meat, and they swell up like weenies and they hurt like somebody's pounded on them with nails and needles, at that point I don't like the cold. That's when you're warming up after they've already numbed out and swelled up like weenies in a boiling water before they pop the skin. Now, I've been through frostbite. I've had all my fingers swell up like weenies. I've had them shoved into hot water in that state and just absolutely hurt to the point I cried. And I was 16 years old. So yeah, the cold is a great thing as long as you're prepared for it. If you're not, I'm going to tell you something. 45 below zero wind chill factor. I don't care who you are. You got enough fat on you, you might last for a while. If you're an Eskimo with very short little arms and very short little legs, and your body has got a big old heart, and it pumps that blood out and keeps those little appendages flowing, you might be good. Now, on the other hand, you're a tall, skinny-ass boy like me, with long arms and long fingers and long feet, and you get cold, and your body says, I'm going to keep my heart and organs warm. Guess what? You stop pushing blood out to your toes and your feet, you start getting what's called frostbite. And they turn all swelled up, then they turn black and ugly, and then you cut them off. It's called amputation. It's last resort. Because gangrene sets in after you start to thaw. It's ugly. So, yes. My brother's a snowbird. My brother lives in Michigan. My brother's 250 and change if he hasn't lost some, and I'm praying he does. And he goes out there and does snow angels in his shorts and a t-shirt. And I agree. Conan, he thinks it's some fun stuff. Not me. That 3 inches, did we get that 3 inches down here? That'll be enough to last me for another 10 years. Because that's how long it's been since we got 3 inches. No? Maybe longer. I got off an airplane in San Antonio. Went down to Puerto Vallarta when I was in my 30th year, maybe 29th year. And I got off, oh goodness, they had snow in San Antonio, 6 inches. And I had the same thing on that I left Puerto Vallarta with 70 degrees, which was polyester nylon pants. Yeah, it was the old days. And a sleeveless t-shirt and tennis shoes. And I went out to the remote parking lot and pounded on the car since I was with 2 ladies and I had to drive. And I pounded and pounded and pounded on that car to finally get the damn door open. So I get in there and shiver my little ass off while I waited for it to warm up enough to try to drive in. And all the way from San Antonio to Austin, we were the only, well, no, we were the second car on the road till he spun out next to me and went off on the side. And then we went by all the exit ramps, entry ramps, where the police were stable and stopped and kept everybody from coming on the highway. Texas is not made for snow. It's not made for ice. And we were about to get our asses whipped down here, folks. Because we aren't ready. Dallas is getting snow. The hill country's getting snow. All over Austin's getting snow. And they built themselves some steep-ass driveways up to their houses. I'm going to tell you something. You pull out of that driveway right now and start to go down that hill, and the only thing going to stop you is a house at the bottom, or another car, or along the lake there. It might be just the lake that stops you. This is serious. That's why I'm getting on here early in the morning. It's just one of several serious things. Hey, Jonathan, nice to see you. My uncle fell through the ice one time. We were ice fishing. He said, don't walk over there, you might fall through. And he promptly fell through. And we went through that process of how do you get him out of there without falling in with him. And the problem is that a lot of people don't understand how to get out of ice if you fall in. And for God's sakes, don't go under it, because you're going to have a hard time getting back up if there's a current. It'll sweep you under the ice and you won't be able to get back out. You got about, well, it depends on the temperature of the ice, of the water. At 42 degrees, I believe you got about 40 seconds before you start freezing up if you're not used to it, if you're not ready to adapt to it. And then you're going to start getting numb, and you're going to start being unable to swim, and you're going to sink. And it's not going to be good. By the way, my son drowned in the Seine River 10 years ago this month. Don't go on the ice if you don't have to when it's cold, please. Apparently it was 42 degrees in the river when somebody probably helped him in. He was a lifeguard. One day he didn't know how to swim. Yeah, he floated 3 weeks later. Supposedly, after some friends with prior CIA background helped find him after missing for 3 weeks in Paris, France. The Seine River. It's cold in the winter, guys. Don't get in the water. And yes, it gets your adrenaline going for a bit. And then it doesn't. Then it all stops. Freezing to death is not a good way to go. Except that you just go to sleep. Whew. Guys, I'm giving this warning for a reason. I told you yesterday and the day before. Are you prepared? These are very interesting times. And very few people getting to hear this, see this, and know why it's interesting times. Over 50, 5.0 plus, going up to 7 in the Loyalty Islands. These are earthquakes of a grand magnitude. And if you look at those gauges I put up online on Facebook, and you look and see how many earthquakes compared to normal, they had to raise the gauges in the old days because they went up to 35, and that was redlining. Now you have 44 over 5.0 earthquakes in the Loyalty Islands, and it's thumping, just like I said, like a drum. Except underneath that drum is a liquid called magma, and it's now being pumped all over. So you're seeing Indonesia now just had five fives in a row, 4.8s. Thanks to USGS, their numbering system seems to fail when all of a sudden it's shocking everybody when the earth is going to start moving, shaking, breaking. Volcanoes popping. And the weather going absolutely stir crazy, because it is, if you had the eyes to see with and the mind to know, there is gigantic, arcing tornadoes of energy. Yeah. Carrying all this stuff around the country right now in big swirls. Please, take this seriously. When I told you, wake up in the morning. Did you do your I love yous this morning? Please, make peace with yourself first. I don't want you going out there and talking to everybody and telling them, hey guys, you know, I might want to go ahead and make peace here because the end is near. The end of what? The end of life you had. See, I know what that's like. It's the end of your identity. What do you think you are? Father, mother, mayor of your town, Big boss of a business, self-employed. An employee just lost his job because nobody can afford to have anybody work anymore. Can't go out on the roads right now. God forbid. If you need groceries and you didn't prepare the moment you get a chance, you take your little $1,400 check, if you're lucky enough to get one, and you buy those goodies you're going to need to lock yourself in for a few days next time and be comfortable. Get an extra can of propane. Get a little Mr. Heater if you don't got one. Please take this seriously. Yeah, I know, I'm a little hard to take seriously, aren't I? But you should once in a while. Even if I'm writing a fantasy book about what might happen, what did happen. And I say I am, I say I did, I say I will. And from the future, looking back, it was worth it. Will you be able to look back at the end of your life and say, I'm proud of what I did? And the sacrifices, it was worth it. Most people, if you gave your life to Coca-Cola or IBM or something else, 30 years of your life, 40 years of your life was dedicated to that one thing, primarily. In some cases, 50, 60 hours a week, salary, got lots of money, and you bought all sorts of shit. And a big old house and nice cars and big clothes and jewelry and all that stuff you couldn't stuff into a car and run right now if you had to. Again, stand in line with 1,000 people all stripped naked. Nothing showing of their life but what's inside and what you can see on their face. Because a lot of people, that rough life is all over their face, written on it. And nowadays, hell, they write on it with tattoos. They put rings through it. They do everything in the world to make sure you know how much agony, pain, or their desire to get attention is. In some cases, it's a perspective. This is a tapestry. They choose to write on it. They choose to draw on it. That's their choice. They choose to shoot things into it like vaccines. That's your choice. You can choose to do anything you want with your body, but please do not come to Salvage, Texas and say, hey, I'm going to put some rings in your nose and tattoos all over your face, and I'm going to pierce your dong for you. No, you ain't going to do that. Not as long as I can resist. Freedom. See, I say you can do that, but also, please, you give me the freedom that I'm willing to give you, and we're on good ground. Don't you come and kick my ass, execute me, burn me at the stake, all that kind of stuff, please. That's not how this is going to come down. Food. If you don't have some of this stuff, how are you going to make it? My cayenne pepper. I used grapes the other day to make this point. You aren't getting any cantaloupe. You aren't getting any grapes. You aren't getting any bananas growing. You got to have them trucked in. Those wonderful truckers that I talked about the other day, they can't get down these highways with this kind of snow. It's not their fault. They're trying. They're spun out all over the place. They're on the ditches. They're dying just to get you that food. So you can go out of your house with your mask on, drive up to the curb, and have somebody else pick it up so you won't get none of that CV. And we're going to train you to stay in your house. Now it's getting better. We're going to get drones, and they're going to fly up and drop your food off, your pizza off at your house, and everything else it takes to keep you in your little prison. Voluntary prisons. Voluntary prison is a very good way to go. You keep people imprisoned in their mind by keeping them ignorant of the facts, what's coming. You keep them in prison by virtue of the fact that they can't afford to leave the house. And you keep them in prison because there's no restaurants to go out to see or eat at. You keep them in prison because you got a mask on their face that's gone ahead and maybe halfway suffocate them and make them sicker than they are. And also, by the way, you imprison them because you make them afraid. Afraid, causing stress, causing immune system disorders, causing cancer, causing inflammation, causing family issues, causing financial hardship, causing bankruptcy, causing all this stuff. And who's doing this? Who's responsible for all this? And now, supposedly, in the book of Wibblery and Wub, that new pseudo-presidento is going to go ahead and make everybody in the whole country, supposedly, if he could do it, wear a mask until early next winter. No, 2 masks, excuse me. You just weren't dying off fast enough with one mask. You get just asking too many damn questions, and I can still hear you through one mask. So get another mask on, all you lefties and all you supporters of the control of the universe by a few people put in charge thanks to computer hacking and countries taking over another. In the book of Wibblery and Wub, of course, this is a horrible chapter that comes around in a single month. Yeah. There's a shock. In awe. Why? Well, let me see. Pluto, Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter. Why, they're all showing signs of something happening that is not humans over there walking and talking and dumping a bunch of trash. It's not human. Cause for what's about to happen. And I say about. It's happening. You've just been too ignorant, not educated. That's ignorance. You've been too ignorant to know what's going on. And I'm trying to tell this to you in a polite way in a story. Been trying for a while. Making tiny houses, trying to show everybody how you go ahead and make it a small, affordable, sustainable, toxin-free space that you can heat and cool. Yeah, I know. It's been 15 years. It's an old story. But I started early. I kept warning people about, gee, it's going to get cold as hell. Prepare. Because you might need some seed. You might need some food. You might not be able to get to the store every day. How's it going up there? Yeah. Good, huh? You ran to the store today? Yeah. Oh, shit. Luckily, some listened. Some are out there. And I'm thankful. And I want them to be the examples for others. You still got a little time, guys. 2024 is when the shit really hits the fan. But it is not going to be a nice ride. Your chance to listen and harass all of us who tried to give fair warning this was coming. Yeah, you know who you are out there. Those that are left watching my channel. Most of you don't. That do that. That think that way. Why? Because I'm a detestable old coot who won't shut up about some of this stuff. And so, in spite of not getting banned, because it's all imaginary, you know, think about being a crazy old coot writing a book who's just a writer, talking about fantasy and making stupid little houses that nobody would want to live in. In fact, nobody would want to talk about because they're about sustainable American-made materials, American labor, using the best of the past, our ancestors' stuff that lasted for hundreds of years through the worst of the weather in the past. Using all that stuff instead of the new crap you're charging $8 a stud for that you could go ahead and snap a stud over your knee. I guarantee you, my studs I use with 100 years of growth lines in them or 80 years of growth lines in them, if I hit you with it, you're down. You're toast. You aren't going to break my 2x4. And it's free. Human energy. Go find an old house. Take it down. Sort the good wood from the bad wood and build yourself a tiny house for human energy. You can do that. I've been telling people that for years. Now's the time to go start paying attention. Because why? Homelessness sucks. So, I agree, Jonathan. Why wait for a kick? Why wait for the world to collapse around your ears? Somebody might just give you a fair warning like a few days ago. Somebody might. They might tell you tomorrow, merged with today, a couple of days ago, when the new moon passed out of one part of the world, part of the universe, and went, oops, and slipped out of there. And along with that, everything else slipped out of there. And we got one planet left, Saturn, sitting over there. And the problem is that it's getting a whole bunch of attention. And Saturn, of all things, means we got a bunch of new rules. Draconian laws. Somebody trying to make rules. That's what Saturn loves to do. Make rules. Yeah. So there's great chances ahead for people to make a lot of money if they want to make money, make a lot of progress spiritually. Yeah, you're going to get close to God really quick in these times. Why? Well, guess what? Some people are going to be praying. Some people may just decide that they want to look to get closer to God. If you call God by any name you want. Love, truth, honor. Those are all words associated with what most of us consider to be a God. That's not a guy up there or a girl up there with a great big robe and a staff saying and pointing at us and going, "You're next. You're next." In, out, whatever you're doing, living, dying, being born. No. But it is a big picture. You see, my comments got shut down again pretty much. What happens is and the reason I'm doing these videos now is that my other stuff was getting whacked. I mean, sometimes 18 people out of 72,000 followers would get a post. 18. Now, what are the odds that I could put something out there and only 18 people would be delivered a message? They call that reached. Now, if you don't share it, if you don't like it, if you don't pass it on, I'll guarantee you Facebook won't. And their buddy, YouTube, oh my goodness. I think they're actually giving me a chance to make a fool of myself over there. I don't know what's wrong with them, but they're still controlling my numbers. Because I got more than 50 people telling me they watched it, but supposedly only 50 people watched it. Now, how's that happen? The same on here. I'm up to 207 likes. I moved up from my 204, 205 every day. I went to 207 one day. Guys, if I was doing this so I could go ahead and stroke myself, it ain't coming from here. Luckily, I don't need all these people following me to find my path. What I'm trying to do is to share my path. Nobody offered that to me when I was young. I had to figure it out. The beautiful thing about the internet, the beautiful thing about what we have right here is Darby can talk to you and he can say, "Hey, it's going to be okay. You're going to make it." But you can't sit there and worry about it and fret about it and whine about it and cry about it. You got to get out there and act. Do. Start doing the workout. It's 1 hour a day. What do you got to do? Look at TV? So put my workout on there. Darby at 62. Wigong. I got a few of them out there when I was in my 60s, early 60s. And I did these from 55 to 60. In 5 years, I managed to change my life. You could too. Not all of them going to work for you. Do the ones you can. Do as much as you can every day. I mean, I do things like, I got this little goodie here. I know, I'm not advertising these. I'm not selling these. I just got one. We were trying it out. It's called a Jazzerciser. Hey, you see that guy on YouTube. You see him on whatever. Hey, you know what? Might be something to it. Although I must admit, that first day, I'm an overdoer. Whoa, did I hurt? I thought I messed up my teeth for the rest of my life. I was afraid if I pulled out, it hurt so bad. So, stop talking about who's watching me and you'll be more believable. Dear Lori, I'm not believable. I'm a figment of your imagination, Lori. Darby Ledick is a character in a book written 30 years from now. Pass back so I can talk to you now. Lori, who in the hell wants to be believable? You know what they do to believable people, huh? Huh, Lori? Was Trump believable? You think? Was the health ranger believable? Sometimes? Did he have a right to say stuff even if he wasn't? Yes, he did. Alex Jones. That's a character, by the way. That is not a person. That is a character portrayed on what is the equivalent of TV for your entertainment, aggravation, provocation. Lots of reasons. The difference is, Laura, I'm about as real as you're ever going to see. Yeah. But you won't know it. I won't be real. It's like max headroom in the old days in the computer. No matter where you are. What are your odds actually seeing me, meeting me, holding me, touching me? Yours? Probably not much. I do see people. I do meet people. I actually like some people. But I'm a little hard for people to absorb and take in. I get a little intense, I'm told. Unbelievable. And I plan to stay as unbelievable as I can. A true fantasy. Latex mask on AI, advanced intelligence, self-replicating, self-healing machine, fully grounded, a filament inside of a robot who has 2 incredible cameras now. They've been replaced, the lenses, and has all the original chompers there. You notice that on TV, most of them, they don't do that? You know why? Because only those front ones are white. Half of them don't even exist in the back. And why do billionaires have bad teeth? Tell me that. Why does Soros look so bad? Because he is so bad. You are a filament inside of a gelatinous shell that is a biocomputer attached to the earth through the feet and the air, which is charged, creating a circuit. You can illuminate and be extremely bright, energetic, amazing through this machine. But I am not the machine. So don't believe. And I don't intend to have it be believable. I intend to tell you what is going on in the book of Wibblery and Wub. And how, if you believe otherwise, if your perspective is different, oh my God, you can do different things. You can do phenomenal things. You can do things that other people are going to go, no way, and I'm going to tell you myself. If you'd have said, Darby's going to do that. Darby's going to dig a canyon so deep you can dive off a cliff and hit 16 feet of water, 70 feet down from the surface. And he's going to do that in 2 months. And I'd said, yeah, right. Can I get a bet against that one? You taking bets? Except, the difference is, I didn't ask anybody else if I could do it. Darby just went and did it. Darby did. In that fantasy world where CGI shows you all that cool shit. Well, that's just fantasy, remember? I don't want you people that don't believe in the possibilities, the positive potential. You don't need to come here. Those demons that are just trying to wreck it all and burn it all and destroy everything that we try to do, don't you come here. No. I don't need anyone who wants to poke a big needle in my bubble. I like my sandbox. You should like your sandbox. If you don't like your sandbox where you're playing, I told you at the first of the week. What would you do if you knew you had 7 days left? Pow! So what do you mean? I ain't dying in 7 days. Well, maybe you're not dying in 7 days. But everything you lived for, everything you dreamt about and wanted in life, this big house and all those other things that might collapse under the snow or might actually be destroyed from earthquakes, from volcanoes, from catastrophes, from floods, from all those things that are about to fall upon our great nation. I ask of you, please, one more time this morning, go to that mirror. Do your I love yous. Make peace with yourself so you can go out and make peace with the people that you claim you love and you're here to help. Please. If you don't believe you're going anywhere, you got to worry about anything, past, present, or otherwise, you can just be an asshole and check out and it's over. Good. I'm right. I'm fine with me. You want to believe that way, you believe that way. But if in your lifetime you've ever thought about God, you want to use the word Jesus as a path, well, understand when you use that word, that man, that entity, that being, incredible as he was, there's a lot of people who will mislead you, take advantage of you, under the name of Jesus. The light comes from within, just like Jesus said. Don't go to the church and pay a bunch of money to buy your stairway to heaven, as the Beatles said, and others. Please, get right with your maker. Get right with you. Because guess what? If you, God thought, manifested under some name, like Darby Lettick, if you don't know that you are God manifested, and you don't love yourself, aren't you saying you don't love God? You don't love what God created? He created it for you, for your spirit to experience this, for you to learn from, for you to grow through. So when you leave this body, when you're no longer incarnate, well, that energy of soul that fuels this shell through your spirit connects. What happens all of a sudden when it doesn't exist anymore? Do you go on? If you do, gee, who are you? What did you learn while here? Do you remember? You don't start wiring the frontal lobes of your brain till you're 49 years old. That's the big screen. You start putting things together and seeing the big picture. If you're producing mature neurons at 700 a day with mature ganglion that have 11 outputs instead of 3, and you can keep up with all this, process it, put it away, store it in memory banks. When I first created a cyber cafe, it was $1,000 a gigabit for memory. That's how valuable memory was then. Now you can get 128 gigs for 25, 30 bucks. But how valuable is the memory in your brain where you can't put in another chip? You got to make them yourself with this incredible machine, which you can start doing at 49 years old. And they work at 10 to 100 times the speed of those juvenile neurons most of you burned out drinking and drugging and doing all those horrible things about not eating right. But luckily, at 49, you get another chance. Yeah. And at 55, I got another chance. Cost me my son. But it was a chance to start over again. To throw away my past, like many of you are about to do. To throw away all the identities you had, all the priorities you had. What motivates you to work 60 hours a week if that was taken away? What's your passion? What would you do instead of make money? And if you don't have anything you really want to do in life other than make money, I feel sorry for you. Because if somebody gives you $1,000 and you don't give it away and spend it on somebody else or do something good with it, you're never going to find happiness because you're so busy accumulating and worrying about what you got and worrying about losing it that you can't find happiness. I don't know how many millionaires, multimillionaires you guys know, personally. And in many respects, you don't know me personally, Darby. But I'll tell you this about Brad. Brad Cattell. He's the guy that put all this stuff out here for us to play with. Dedicated and donated all this material in the land so we could go ahead and create Salvage Texas for all you. And I'm writing a story about it. And as his ghostwriter, I do want to tell you this. Brad would tell you. Everything we do for a reason to get to the place we got to go. Can't regret it. Wouldn't get here without it. But when he was working 80 to 100 hours a week for 25 years, running businesses, having $90,000 a month in overhead, had to pay all those bills before he made a penny. And because of that, he didn't get to go home and play with his son. He didn't go out and have a social life like everybody else. If you're doing that, Brad's advice would be, stop for a second, savor the moment. Go be with those treasures, those children. Please. Don't get upset because you can't go to work. Get happy because you got time with your kids. Don't get upset because you can't go out and work. Get healthy. Get right with your God. Guys, this is going to get serious. Please. If 7 days warning wasn't enough, guess what? It's down to about 5. Thump every hour. Thump every hour or more. Thump. That's a pulse hitting the planet, causing the liquid inside of it, inside of a ball, to then start vibrating around the planet. And as it moves around and that magma under the earth pulses, it creates waves. And the more it pulses, the more the waves move the lithosphere, that plate on top of the magma, until it finally separates. And then it has happened before, guys. Please. I know you're not educated. I know this sounds like absolutely unbelievable shit, and it is. It's in a book called Wibble Rain Wub, remember? Was it Marianne? Yeah. Please. Enjoy your day. Love y'all.